Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. The treasure left behind by the people of Yangji was shocking. My god. I've really struck it. Luo Feng blinked, and his body was trembling. I'm rich, really rich. It's no wonder Gold Kang and the others went all out for this. Even Night and Piercing Tiger were filled with hope. Looks like they've seen more than me and knew of how shocking the treasure is. Shocking. It's madness. Luo Feng muttered. The three rings all had different levels of treasures, of which there was a message in each of them. With a flip, 3 metal fragments appeared in his hand. On them was a blur of Yangji continent words. They explained the treasures within. Survivors, the rings have different leveled treasures for the Sector Lord, Domain Lord, Universe level, Star and Star Traveler level. Even though they are very cheap, they are huge in numbers, and are able to fill the entire world ring. In total, they add up to a huge amount of wealth. You all have to use them wisely. Considering the trillions of years needed to nurture our race, control the portions given out. Nurturing the later generations is the most important, because these weak, but growing clansmen are our future. These world rings represent our future. Clansmen within this ring are treasures for undyings. Even though the numbers cannot compare to the ring before, it still adds up to a huge sum. Survival will be extremely hard after the tragedy. The undyings will have to open their own living spaces. They require enough treasures to explore the universe. Clansmen, this final ring holds a complete engraved weapon. This is our clan's highest achievement. Over countless years, the knights worked hard to construct this, and they only managed to construct not even 100 of them. And these weapons along with the other treasures from us knights have been separated into 100 towers. Some of the towers have the engraved weapons while others have knights' weapons. Even though these weapons have little usage for knights, they are still priced as high as other items used by knights, because they have great abilities. As for how to use them and what they can do, the weapons themselves have explanations on them. Even though there's only one engraved weapon here, its price far exceeds the other 2 rings. Luo Feng looked at the 3 fragments and was stunned. 3 world rings. One was for below undying, Sector Lord, Domain Lord etc., the weaker clansmen. One was for undyings. One was for the top of the race. This was the engraved weapon. Absurd. This engraved weapon is their highest achievement. Constructed over countless years, not even 100 of them have been made. Its price far exceeds the other 2 rings. Luo Feng retrieved the only weapon within the 3rd world ring with a thought. The weapon was small and delicate, similar to an armband, and its material was mainly black with some hazy star belt feeling. How do I use this? It has an explanation. Luo Feng pondered but couldn't understand it, sending some world energy into the armband to investigate the weapon. His world energy was imbued with his own spirit imprint as it activated the band. The weapon instantly recognized its owner. So convenient. Luo Feng easily got it to recognize him as its owner, as a message began to relay within his consciousness. The message explained the details about the weapon. It was called the Space Lock Band, and there were less than 100 in the universe. The most mysterious thing about the Yangji race was its Yangji engravings. It was something the ancestors chanced upon and comprehended a long time ago. It was a path suitable for the people of Yangji. The tower uses the most basic form of the engravings. The tower has countless engravings, the final ones have space abilities. However, as these were solid engravings, they required a carrier and had a huge limitation. It couldn't be used effectively in battle. Hence, the ancestors created the stronger void engravings. Every engraved weapon has complex void engravings within, and the moment its energy is triggered it would cause the engravings to scatter around space. Spread over an area, controlling anything within. The optimum energy source is an undying crystal. It is best not to use one's own undying energy, as the weapon energy consumption is incredibly shocking. And once the source is depleted, if one uses his own undying energy, it would be burning his own undying body. That wouldn't be worth it at all. The universe has all sorts of undying crystals. The stronger the energy, the longer it can be used. The space lock band spreads its void engravings over a domain and the space ripples within are locked. It disables teleportation. Hence, this is a space warrior's nightmare. Of course, it would also affect the user, making both parties unable to teleport. Hence, this band is most suited for one proficient in time laws. To the time law warriors, who are able to unleash time stop and disabling their enemies from teleporting, their advantage would be huge. This band has void engravings within. Hence, as long as one brings it around, with the user as the source, it can unleash its space lockdown anywhere, and will be much more efficient than the towers. The tower's spaces have limits, it's very hard to bring it around with the user, and in battle, simply destroying the engravings in the towers would stop the effect. The void engravings, however, cannot be destroyed. The space lock area can be separated into 3 levels. First level, area with a diameter of 10,000 kilometers will be affected. Second level, diameter of 100,000 kilometers will be affected. Third level, diameter of 1 million kilometer will be affected. The larger the area, the more the energy usage will be. Only use it against a true enemy, and during a life or death crisis. Use it sparingly. This was the message, and it wished for the warriors of the race to rely on the engraved weapons to protect their people and rise up again. Damn. 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 Luo Feng felt his blood boil, as he was extremely exited, cursing. I've really made it. This is huge. Luo Feng reflected on the information again. He had truly gotten a huge reward from this encounter. When he first saw the engravings within the tower, he was already eyeing them. During the battles, he would get the advantage. However, once the battles grew more intense and the towers began to crumble, and with the limits of space within, Luo Feng could only ponder. Engraved weapon. Yang Ji engravings. This is the path the ancestors of the Yang Ji people happened to chance upon. Luo Feng exclaimed, impressive, there are solid and void engravings. The 3 world rings, especially the third one, truly made Luo Feng happy and surprised. Let's give it a shot. He couldn't bear to wait as he extended his left arm. The band stuck straight to his arm and melded with his skin. Simultaneously the black surface cracked open, revealing an energy input spot. It requires a high undying energy source. Luo Feng smiled. I still have 2 flame god crystals, and every one of it is worth 200 million points. Also, just one alone is akin to a low emperor self-destruct. Flame god crystal, thunder god crystals, etc. They were condensed undying energy, which were able to be used as energy sources or bombs. In truth, back when the automatons designed them, they were made to give large amounts of pure energy. Later on, they were discovered to be good in battle too, especially the flame god crystal. It became a bomb for many warriors. Luo Feng flipped his hand and put the crystal into the input, taking up only a third of the space. The input immediately sealed up and the energy poured in. The surface sealed up. The entire band was now solid. Ha ha. With a thought, his silver armor covered the band and protected the band well. Actually, the construction material of this band was incredibly expensive, and the chain chest was even more solid, where even knights would find it hard to destroy it. Space lock. The band had long recognized him as its owner, he could easily trigger it. Smallest area, diameter of 10,000 kilometers, space lock. Luo Feng easily triggered it. With the 200 million points flame god crystal within, it had sufficient energy to trigger. With Luo Feng's arm as the core, a formless energy instantly spread in all directions. It was a ripple similar to that of space energy. Diameter of 10,000 kilometers. The skies, mountains, grass and mud below, had translucent engravings appear throughout. These void engravings of the Yang Ji appeared occasionally, even with a punch, it hit nothing, because there was no way to destroy these void engravings. One had to destroy the armband to destroy the engravings. Ha ha. Luo Feng smiled with glee, surveying his surroundings and looking up and down. It was real. And with the Mosha body's sense of space, it could clearly feel the universe space within the 10 kilometers area locked down. Without a single ripple of space, one couldn't teleport at all. Space lock, it's truly space lock. Good, good, good. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed with excitement. Space lock. This is like having great comprehension of space itself. Luo Feng was excited, as he was clear on just how valuable this engraved weapon was. The space laws could be split into teleportation, twist and lock. Every one of them had their own subdivisions. As long as one reached a high level in any one of them, they would be able to get the recognition of the space law. However, to reach the limit of any one of them was extremely hard. Any warrior who is able to do any of these would, normally, all be at pinnacle emperor level. Few high emperors could do it. As this relied on law comprehension, some high emperors may be weaker in certain aspects, but strong in their law comprehension, hence they could use it. With space lockdown combined with my Showu wings, I, Luo Feng, truly have the right to stand ahead of countless of undyings. Luo Feng was happy within. He was too excited, dreaming about different scenarios. Ah, right, shut off the device. This consumes energy constantly. It'll hit 10 seconds in a bit, shut off. Luo Feng deactivated it. The engravings that appeared throughout the 10,000 kilometers area all disappeared. I wonder how much energy it took up. Luo Feng checked to see. The armband screen displayed, energy remaining 98.9%. My God. Luo Feng stared wide-eyed, only 98.9% left. I only used it for 10 seconds and in its smallest area, and this is a flame god crystal worth 200 million points. Its usage is so fast. In just 10 short seconds, it used 1.1% of the energy within the crystal. Each one of these were worth 200 million. That meant that in 10 seconds it used 2.2 million points, while 60 seconds would use 13.2 million points. A minute of it uses 13.2 million points. 1 minute alone would use up an official's wealth. Luo Feng took a deep breath. He finally got an understanding about the fairness of the universe. Such a heavenly weapon did not require any prior training. Just equip it with an energy source, and it could use space lockdown. If the energy usage was low on top of that, it would be unbelievable. 1 minute would consume 13.2 million points. It's no wonder the ancestors of the Yang Ji people said that its usage is shocking and should only be used in a crisis. Use it sparingly. Right, unless it is absolute necessary, I cannot use it. This is a black hole that sucks up unlimited resources. Luo Feng shook his head. After acquiring the engraved weapon, he was extremely excited. However, the extreme energy consumption was like a bucket of cold water over everything. It woke him up. I cannot use it unless it's absolutely necessary. I definitely cannot use the engraved weapon, unless it's the last resort. Otherwise it would simply be a huge loss. Luo Feng muttered. Even so, he was still very happy. This space lock band far exceeded the amount of wealth from the previous 2 rings, it was true. This was an absolute trump card against the space law warriors. I have to verify the contents of the 2 rings. Just how much are the treasures in the other 2 rings worth? The 2 world rings along with some treasure from Gold Kang and the others, Luo Feng had to calculate them on a whole. However, as the numbers and variety were too huge, he and Barbata worked hard, but were still unable to find an accurate price. Via the virtual universe network, via some friends in the Hong Alliance, via the shops in the Hong Alliance city, and via his status as the disciple of the Primal Chaos city leader, and other pathways. It took a total of 7 days for him to finally get an estimate for all the goods. The first ring, even though its most valuable items are only suitable for sector lords, the amount is huge. The countless items can form a continent. In total, it's worth about 221 billion mixed elements. The second ring holds items for undyings. Even though the number of items are much lesser, however in all, it's worth about 285 billion mixed elements. The third ring only has that one engraved weapon. These are extremely rare in humanity itself, they are almost non-existent. There's no accurate price for it. This weapon, it cannot be priced with money, and it can only be exchanged with other valuable items. Its price far exceeds the 2 other rings before. The goods I got from Gold Kang and the others are worth about 53 billion. In total. There is a complete engraved weapon, and the items are worth 560 billion mixed elements. Within his study in Yuseong Mountain, the palm-sized Barbata sat and looked at the screen with Luo Feng. They were both stunned by the final tally of numbers. Both of them exchanged glances. Luo Feng, you've really struck it big. Barbata blinked. Ha ha. Luo Feng smiled. Indeed. The amount he got from the tower felt like it gave him a whole new life. Ever since becoming the disciple of the primal chaos city leader, he had interacted with his other seniors. Most interaction was with Gold Axe Knight, and some other knights like Evil Gun Knight. It opened his perspectives. He had also checked before and knew how shocking these absolute warriors' wealth was. Normal undyings usually had about 10,000 mixed elements. Officials usually had about 10 million. Emperors usually had about 10 billion. This was the standard for high and pinnacle emperors, and emperor limits would normally have between tens of billions to hundreds of billions. Warriors like Tru Yang, who are invincible amongst emperors and akin to a normal knight, had wealth of hundreds of billions or even more. Of course, these were only estimates. In truth, they would spend most of their wealth on ships, plant life forms, weapons, treasures, etc. They normally kept very little. And for Tru Yang to so easily exchange the beast god 7 forms for Luo Feng, to have so much liquid cash around, that was shocking. Even with his earnings this time from the tower, Luo Feng wouldn't be able to produce so much cash. And as one got stronger, especially advancing towards the knight's level, the treasures they needed were extremely rare and few, many couldn't be purchased with money. They could only barter. Like this engraved weapon, it couldn't be bought anywhere. The wealth of the warriors were mostly fixed assets. Luo Feng's assets were huge: the Shogu wings, beast god armament, engraved weapon, inheritance crystal. These were all fixed assets and they weren't worth selling, because he could get cash for them. But, cash may not necessarily get some treasures. Luo Feng may need a certain treasure in the future. But that treasure may not be bought. He could then publicly announce, I will use this engraved weapon with the space lockdown ability to exchange for a certain treasure. This would have a much higher chance of succeeding. Warriors wanting to get the weapon for their students, and so on, would then be willing to barter with him. I'll keep the most valuable treasures. Those that are useless to me or common in the universe, it's best to sell them as soon as possible. Luo Feng thought. The best items were those that fit him. Other emperor treasures may not necessarily fit him. Once everything has been decided, Luo Feng began to secretly deal with the large amount of goods, like the sea of items in the first ring. The Hong Alliance city did business mostly with emperors. Hence, there was no way to sell these normal goods to them. And with such numbers, the shops couldn't deal with so much either. He could only sell it to the virtual universe company. Luckily, the buying department of the company showed him respect as the disciple of the city leader. They didn't dare push the price down too low. Sold. The useless and common items have all been changed to cash. Luo Feng was very busy but happy. Just as he was selling treasures through his various connections, there was a day he suddenly received a mail from a good friend in Hong Alliance City. The details were simple. Yang, I heard you received treasure from a sacrificial tower in Yangji main continent. What? Luo Feng was shocked from the mail. The human Yang was his alias. After all, the news of Luo Feng being the disciple of the city leader had long spread about. The warriors in the universe had all been searching for this Luo Feng. He naturally didn't dare reveal his identity. The identity of Yang was low profile, just like a normal emperor. However, now that this identity was involved in the treasure of a sacrificial tower, it would make this low-profile character gain the attention of many greedy people who were eyeing the treasures. If someone like Gold Kang had gotten the treasure instead, the other emperors would not dare go mess with him. But Yang, that newbie. True treasures could only be held by absolute warriors. It would be strange if no one planned to steal from him. Mo Na Emperor, where are you? Luo Feng immediately contacted him. After a while, within a restaurant in Hong Alliance City, Luo Feng chatted with a fox-tailed handsome Mo Na Emperor. Mo Na, where did you get that information? Luo Feng was anxious. Which bastard spread it? Isn't this sabotage? I was shocked when I heard it too. If it was false, this bastard must be completely evil. Mo Na shook his head and smiled. However, the news that had spread seems too real, and it even sent out accurate coordinates in the universe. They are, and there is indeed a tower there. The news checks out. Yang, you did get a treasure from the tower there. And many warriors have actually gone to check out the coordinates and tower there. It has spread throughout Yangji continent. Even some emperors at Star Tower and other places have heard of it. Luo Feng's expression was ugly. Coordinates. Purple Clock Emperor. He raged within. One had to know that when Mo Na Emperor sent over the mail, Luo Feng had already suspected it was connected to Purple Clock Emperor. Now that he knew about the news of the tower being public, he could almost confirm it was him. This conclusion was also based on Purple Clock's insane character. Purple Clock, I haven't begun to search for you and you've already started looking for trouble. Luo Feng cursed within. Looks like you really want to kill me. You've got guts. You've really got guts. You aren't afraid that I'd share the news of your ancient clock. Actually, when they left the tower, Purple Clock had thought hard and understood one thing. If the human had no way to deal with him, he wouldn't let it rest. It was very likely the human would spread the news of his ancient clock, and since the human would fan the flames of his treasures, it was better to force him out early. Killing him was the right thing to do. If the human wanted to kill him and get the ancient clock, he naturally would spread the news of it. Even so, it meant that the threat of that human was even bigger. This was to the point that he had the ambition to take his treasure. He should be destroyed even earlier. Hence, Purple Clock had to make the first move. Vicious. Vicious. I wanted to wait till I got a bit stronger before dealing with you. Since you've already issued the challenge, then let's do it. Luo Feng was filled with killing intent. A kind person gets bullied. They all think that my persona Yang is easy to bully. I'll have to search for a chance to completely massacre him. Battling over and over to deal with the greedy warriors was a very stupid thing. The best day to deal with this was to make it a true bloodbath, by showing his strength and scaring off the others. It would make them all know just how powerful and dangerous Yang was. Naturally, they wouldn't dare pick a fight with him without a grudge. They wouldn't unnecessarily come try their luck. After all, there were a whole bunch of emperor limits with large amounts of wealth in the universe. As long as they were strong enough, no one would bother them. Mo Na looked at Luo Feng said softly, Yang, are you okay? No problem, I was just thinking of the trouble this is going to cause. Luo Feng smiled coldly. Looks like it's one of those with a grudge against me. Don't be afraid to call me for help, we human warriors aren't that easy to mess with. Mo Na spoke. If you get friends from the Human Alliance, we'll just fight it out. Luo Feng nodded. Mo Na Emperor, thanks for informing me. Otherwise, I would still have been oblivious. Luo Feng said. It's not your fault. This news was spread amongst the other races and later to the human camp. I came immediately the moment I heard. Mo Na said. Luo Feng nodded. This is troublesome, I'll leave first to ponder on how to deal with it. Go on. Mo Na told him. Be careful, the outer region war has a great mix of other races. You have to be vicious with the greedy ones and make them fear you. If you are soft on them, more of them will come. I understand. Luo Feng nodded. Looks like it was time to massacre Yangji main continent. The news is real. There have been some emperors that have broken into the tower and searched it. 2 automatons sat facing each other. The taller one emphasized, they discovered a G-grade treasure room and a destroyed room, but the treasures were already taken. G-grade metal room. The smaller automaton was shocked, looks like there truly was a treasure. Many other race warriors in the main continent have already checked up on Yang through many routes. However, no one has found him. The taller one said hoarsely. The moment anyone discovers him, it would be a big fight, and many other races would jump in. Pars ci. The shorter one smiled, will you join them? Ha ha, this human is weak. He's probably a punk that just became an emperor. What right does he have to hold such treasure? I will definitely go. The taller automaton said. The both of us should cooperate, we'll also split the treasure in half. Okay. The two automatons formed their alliance. In Yangji main continent, the emperors were usually very free, since emperor fights hardly ever reached a fatal stage. Now that the news of the treasure of the tower had spread, a fire had erupted within the entire continent. Even the warriors in Star Tower and other places rushed over. A storm was brewing in Yangji continent. Even the officials around had been ordered to scan and constantly search for the human Yang. The weird thing was, they couldn't find him. Cowardly human. Despicable human. He must have been scared off, leaving the outer region wars. Many warriors on the main continent cursed. The most worried and anxious one was still Purple Clock Emperor. Within a dark ice mountain, he sat crossed-legged on a frozen rock, his eyes gleaming coldly, while muttering, the entire continent has been searched over and over, where did he go? We can't find him. HMPH. I've already forced his hand and yet he still hasn't even revealed the secret of my ancient clock. Looks like this human Yang has huge ambitions. He's obviously guessed that I let out the news. Theoretically, he should have done the same about me. Yet he hasn't spoken. Looks like he's waiting for the chance to kill me and take my treasure. He must have some guarantee. Human. Purple Clock was actually quite fearful of Luo Feng. Because back in the tower, Luo Feng had survived with his terrifying speed and defense. And he was able to hide his life energy, almost completely, until he was sucked into the world ring. All these things showed that Luo Feng had some terrifying moves. Would Purple Clock underestimate such an opponent? I have close to 100 billion indigo gems this time. He thought. I better prepare well. This human has completely hidden himself, and the moment he shows himself it would be crazy. Whether it was Luo Feng or Purple Clock. They were both very clear on the fact that after they left the tower, they would be sworn enemies. When Purple Clock revealed the news about the tower, the two of them were set to fight to the death. Within the 26th camp, Luo Feng lay within his pool. The mountain peak had white snow all over, the pool however was warm. Mist filled up the area, and Luo Feng lay there casually. Right, while the entire Yangji continent was searching for him, he was within the camp. Actually, the moment he got that large amount of treasure, he swiftly headed towards the camp, because he had deals to sell stuff with the Virtual Universe Company and others. He naturally had to come back to the base. Looking for me? How will they find me when I'm in the base? Luo Feng lay relaxed within the pool. Suddenly, 3 silhouettes flew over. The Virtual Universe Company people have come. A silver armor appeared on his body and his wings unfolded. He flew out of the water and onto the peak. How do you do? I'm from the Virtual Universe Company. The leader of the group was a handsome 3-eyed man with a golden robe. He was here on orders of the boss. The boss didn't even reveal the status of the client, only telling him to not ask random questions. This made the Emperor level 3-eyed man know that the client was linked to the highest of levels. His boss was a knight and was one of the upper echelons, yet even he acted like that. I know. Luo Feng nodded, tossing out a world ring. The 3-eyed man received it and scanned with his undying energy. Simultaneously the ring recognized him as the owner as he tossed a scanner in. Both human and machine scanning simultaneously, he even said, as this involves a huge amount of treasure, this may take a while. No rush. Luo Feng stood there. About 3 minutes later. The scanner had finished and the Emperor had finished as well. The goods are complete. The 3-eyed man smiled at Luo Feng. The money has already been transferred. We shall not disturb you further. He was clear on how shocking the amount of wealth was involved in this deal. It exceeded over 200 billion mixed elements. This silver-winged and armored warrior definitely wasn't ordinary. The deal with the company was the fastest. The other routes were much more troublesome. Some were sold to people, while some were sold to shops, and some to other race warriors. As the deals were huge, many other race warriors had to come to the 26th camp personally to check the goods. The entire process took close to 1 month before it was completed. Ha! Luo Feng stretched and lay in the pool, smiling. It's finally over. My wealth is now about 560 billion mixed elements. Such a huge sum. It may be a small amount to the knights, but to the emperors, it's extremely wealthy. I have to think of how to use this. Do I use it on deities of the world, etc., or to strengthen myself? Or do I use it on the 1000 vine star-eating plant and other plant life forms? Or do I buy automaton weapons? After I buy them, even if I don't use them, I can sell them later. Or should I order strengthening treasures for myself and the plant life forms? However, I cannot sell them back for money. He lay in the pool and considered his options. 560 billion mixed elements, leaving it in the bank was a stupid thing to do. It was best to strengthen himself in various ways. This video will end here.